Hey Ollie, how many fails in mobile robot projects have you experienced in your career?
To be honest, a lot. I think every project seems like a new adventure for me.
And since there is enough adventures when rolling new technology out, let's talk about classic risks that you can mitigate before you start into the project so that you can really focus on the things that are making a difference.
Automation Awakenings, your weekly dose of best practices for logistics automation.
Welcome to episode number 18 of our Automation Awakenings podcast. And today we will talk about projects. How can you implement AGV, AMR projects in a smooth way without having a big adventure every time?
Correct. And as it turns out in the preparation for this podcast, there is things that are basically coming back time and again in those cases that we have experienced. And that's why we would like to talk about them so that hopefully you guys can prevent these, you can prevent those things to happen to you. And I would suggest that we divide those possible risks into different um, phases of a project. So, first, let's talk about risks that are occurring already before you actually start the project. Then, let's move on and talk about risks that might occur during the project. And let's finish off with the risks that are popping up after you have finished the official project, but you still are struggling to really get your things done.
That sounds like a good structure. So let's start with everything what you can do before actually kicking off the project, right?
Yeah, let's talk about those, say, top mistakes you would do that would really put your project success at risk.
Yeah, Matthias, when thinking about this first phase, you know what comes into my mind immediately? I mean, before we really kick it off, you have a main challenge. You have to know what you want. And in many of our consultancies, we found out that actually our customers they just don't know what is actually their requirement, what is their demand for automation. And I think
Yeah.
here you can already spoil the whole automation initiative.
I fully agree to this. So, knowing your expectations and also the desired deliverables from an AGV or AMR is is a key question you need to pose yourself before you decide to even start a project.
Yeah, and you know how you immediately know that you fell into this trap if you are with a customer and he tells you, yeah, my manager told me we should automate. We, we should invest in automation. If I hear this is a typical red flag for me because then there is a high risk that they actually, they just want to automate to make the manager happy, but they never thought about what they really want to do and what automation actually is.
Yeah, I think we can boil it down to the sentence: don't automate for the sake of automating, automate for improvement, right? And before you define this improvement, you need to understand what do you basically want to see as an improvement? What are your expectations? And then, and this is another point I'm going to bring in right now, is you need to also understand the limitations and the features that the mobile robot has. So it's not like a magic device and you're going to put it somewhere on the shop floor and it's going to solve all your problems. On the contrary, right? It's a very, very sophisticated system that needs to be tailored to your needs and to your given processes that you have. Otherwise, you won't really be successful with it.
Yes, and this brings me now to a typical failure people tend to do, starting such initiatives without the proper know-how or experienced persons. This will, I think, go through all our phases, of course, but especially in this very first phase, the person who is designing the project and selecting mobile robots, for example,
Yeah.
needs to be a person well trained, with know-how and experience. And if you don't have it in your company, don't hesitate to search for support here. Otherwise, you will lose a lot of money. You will spend money on the wrong hard and software. Actually, this is guaranteed.
Yes. So I also again go with that. Make sure you involve a consultant or some other form of support in this early stage already, if you are struggling to answer all of these questions that we just talked about. I'm going to add another one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going a little bit towards this magic solving hope that some people have. And my experience is that if your physical processes are bad and you try to bring in automation technology to improve them without changing the physical process, you will end up with a really bad automated process, again, which won't really bring a lot of benefits and will be super complicated and totally over-engineered. So your journey starts with the physical process on the shop floor. And I think this is a very important message to make sure you guys do not see AGVs, AMRs, and other automation tech as your one-stop shop for solving all of your problems that you might face in your logistics processes.
Yes, and here the main improvement everyone is seeking is saving money at the end, increase productivity, saving money, of course. And that's why it's so important in this very first phase already, not to only design and think about the use case, but also the business case.
Yeah.
And this, it's not necessary to do complex calculations here. Just make a simple check. What will I save in terms of if I automate this process, this part of the process? What is the saving behind, and how much will it cost, more or less, to automate it?
Yeah.
And if you come to a return on invest of over 5 years, or even maybe 99 years, then probably you selected the wrong use case. And sometimes people are doing this in a very late stage, actually. And then they find out that they did a lot of effort already in designing the material flow, even designing stations, destinations, whatever. And then they find out, actually, doesn't make sense to follow up on this case. So do this very early in a simple way.
Yeah. That's tested and proven. That's what we also do when we go on site and consult. We calculate an ROI really on a blank piece of paper, on a blank sheet, and just to really get a first feeling, are we really looking into the right use cases? And that's a really great bridge to another point. Find the right use cases. So most of the customers, or maybe not most, but some of the customers we talk to want to always go with the goddamn hardest use case first. They have no AGVs, no AMRs on the shop floor, and they are approaching us with the wish to start a automated loading and unloading of trucks.
Yeah, Matthias, I don't know what's happening outside, and I don't know what is your experience. But with our internal customers, we always hear that they want to unload trucks with an AGV. And this is the end boss, as we all know. And if you start with that, you will be frustrated, and it will not work at the moment.
Yeah, right. So start easy, start simple, just the way you would do it with sports, right? You don't play Champions League straight away, right? You start with some youth leagues and then you work yourself up. Do the same with AGVs. Start with the easy ones, the pallet floor to floor transports or pallet to conveyor belt, whatever. Start with that first, collect experience, and build on this to to just simply move into the more advanced use cases step by step.
Absolutely. I can only underline this. You need this learning curve. And there are things which you need to learn by yourself. No consultant can help you there. And you need to start, you need to just do it also,
Yeah.
but only in combination with a simple use case where you already save some money. Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe there it's not like in the foreground to save a lot of money, but to learn. And there are so many things you will discover later on, which will make the project anyway complex enough. But if you already know from the beginning that this is a difficult one, you will struggle.
Right. So, anything else we should mention as a possible risk in the pre-stage or pre-phase of a project?
Yeah, I have another one actually, because it's very important. Underestimating the costs.
Mm-hmm.
We said you need to do a simple calculation. That's true. But don't use this simple calculation to do your budget planning,
Mm-hmm.
because there will be much more to it. Yeah, and don't take only the hardware costs. Think about that. We are talking about implementation of a new technology, which comes with hardware, software, charging stations, project costs, travel costs. I mean, we can do a whole episode only on costs in a project. Think about what you need also from, let's say, internal partners. So you have to pay for facility management, yeah, to put some cables here and there, Wi-Fi connection. Yeah, I don't want to dive too much into that, but there are many hidden costs, especially if it's your first automation project. So don't underestimate it.
Word.
But enough. Now we kick off
Yeah.
the project. Yeah, we thought about all this. We have a proper use case, business case,
Yeah.
ROI. We have a good budget. Now
Yeah.
we started the project.
Mm-hmm.
Which risks do I face now?
I start with one which is easily said, but a bit harder to safeguard, and that's simply picking the right supplier or the wrong partner. Sorry. So
That's a tough one, as we know.
putting your bet on the wrong partner simply.
Yes, and I really understand everyone who is struggling here. At the moment, we face a jungle of suppliers in the automation business. And they come with a lot of promises, shiny PowerPoints, awesome videos. And this is a key challenge at the moment for any project leader, especially in nowadays.
Yeah. So that would be my first one that could screw up the project while doing the project. Otherwise, I also would mention just a bad project setup. And we now go into project management, like dummy rules, basically, right? So make sure you have everyone on board you need. Make sure you do not have too many parties on board, because again, this is complicating everything. So, just focus on the core people. Make sure there are clear responsibilities in the project. So everyone should really know what he or she is responsible for in the project. So yeah, project management fundamentals, they also apply to mobile robot projects. Very clear.
Yes, absolutely. To name some of the most important stakeholders in the project. First of all, our safety engineer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
often forgotten. Yeah.
often forgotten or involved in a later stage. And I can promise you, the later you involve these guys, the more you will struggle because nobody wants to be involved when everything is already set up, actually. Yeah. Then we have our facility management colleagues. At the end, they will have a lot of work with your automation project. They need to plan capacity, they need to buy stuff, and maybe, yeah, they might also become the bottleneck if you need complex things like the Wi-Fi is not enough or stuff like that. Then, in some countries, especially Germany, workers' council.
Yep.
Everybody's afraid of the workers' council. Actually, they are also your friends. They are interested in increasing productivity of the production plant,
Yeah.
but they want to know what you are planning with the human resources affected.
Yeah.
And they just want to know, and they want to maybe design it together with you. How are the qualification plans, for example? You need to think about this change management also. And if you involve them, usually it's fine, and they even have good inputs.
Did you ever face a project where it totally got or went wrong with the workers' union?
Yes, sure. If you involve them when the mobile robot is already there, and this is not a joke. This happened.
Yeah.
And this is the worst change management you can ever do. When the workers' council sees the device on the shop floor and he never heard about the project before,
Yeah.
then they are human beings, right? They will be upset.
Yeah, and simply it's their job to know about that.
Yes.
And to also support and whatever to represent the interests of the employees in these cases. So simply they're not doing their job. So of course they are pissed, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe another stakeholder who is often forgotten is the fire brigade.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a new device with a battery involved. It's dangerous. You need to know how to handle an AGV when it's simply on fire. Yeah. At least they want to know what is suddenly running in your plant.
Yeah.
So take them into the project.
Great insights. Let's maybe move to another one that might go wrong in the project. And that's one of my favorite ones. So everyone who listens to the podcast will be remembered of what I said a couple of times already. And that's unclear scope in a not existent or not clear specification book. So that's my personal...
The classic one.
That's my personal nightmare. You come into a place, into a project, you are there to consult and support, and you figure out no one ever wrote down any requirements and specifications towards this mobile robot system, and they're just like doing something in the hope that the supplier or the integrator is, some kind of wizard understanding what they need. But of course he's not. So he's going to do something he think is best. Or maybe he's totally confused by not having requirements and he's going to screw up big time. So again, guys, make sure you have a really, really clear scope and a written scope. That's important. And this written scope is called specification book.
And we are mentioning this because we've seen everything from no specification book to some mails, to meeting minutes, to some bad protocol of one meeting when the supplier was on site. And this is also not usable if it comes to problems.
Yeah.
It's not enough.
If it really goes badly wrong and you meet yourself or each other, you meet each other in court and We've seen that, and there is
You can pull out some
there is
emails
no
then.
written, like specification whatsoever. Then no judge will judge in your favor. So make sure you have it in place. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have seen mobile robots standing somewhere in the dust in some corners because at the end, it didn't work out
Yeah,
and you can't give them back.
very expensive mistakes.
True.
I have one last
Mm-hmm.
for the project execution, and that's bad or insufficient change management.
Yeah.
And you already touched upon that, Ollie. You really need to involve all of the parties that Ollie mentioned. And you also, and this is the important thing, you need to involve the employees themselves,
Yeah.
right? So you come in there, you're bringing in some new device. Everyone is afraid of losing his job. People are insecure. People, will simply sabotage the whole project. And later on, the mobile robot, if they're not taken on board timely. So that's, again, one of my biggest advices. Put time and effort into really informing the employees and really trying to get their buy-in.
True. All right, Matthias. The mobile robot is here. It's running. We are in the last phase of every project, the stabilization part.
Mm-hmm.
What risks do you see there?
To be honest, I'm really curious to hear what you have, because
Sure.
at the moment, I can't think of any, but I'm sure you have some.
First of all, very simple, you need to plan a proper stabilization phase. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Again, including all the stakeholders, and especially in this phase, think about how much you need the supplier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they have to plan their resources and think about how mature is your knowledge, your know-how, and how much you need the supplier also on site in a, let's say, cooperative mode, and to have a look on the mobile robot, how is it behaving in the productive phase already.
Yeah.
Because I can guarantee you also here you will find surprises.
Mm.
Yeah, you did the testing and everything went fine, but then suddenly there will be some strange light coming through a window. There will be dust on your shop floor. The typical things which you cannot test in
Yeah.
one day.
Sure.
During the productive usage of the robot, there will be hiccups. So plan a proper time, and depending on your maturity of the whole plant, of the supplier and so on, you need more or less time.
Mm.
But I would say at least you need 1 week of a common time to observe the robot. This must be done together. And don't sign the approval before you've seen it running a certain time period on your shop floor in a productive way, without touching it, with really transporting your goods on a normal working day.
You mean like the project finish approval, right?
Yes, because you know how many people sign it as soon as they see the robot running the first time.
Yeah.
And then the supplier says, okay, great.
I'm out.
I'm out, you approved it.
Yeah.
And then they face troubles, and then it's very difficult to get the supplier back on board.
Yeah.
Yeah. So please don't sign it. Of course, the prerequisite is to have a proper requirements book, to have a test plan, to have them checked step by step. But still, please observe it for a certain time period.
And this leads me to my last point, actually, and that's simply the poor handover of a project into daily operations. And I think it goes same direction as you are mentioning, Ollie. So not really thinking about first level support. Who is doing it in the plant? Is it the maintenance guy? Is there a special person just taking care of mobile robots? So not answering this question. Second level, when to involve the supplier with problems and so on. So really make sure to set a organization up which will support this use case even after the project team has left the plant, to really ensure that you have a stable and also sustainable solution that you will be able to run for years.
Yeah, fully confirm that. So, yeah, Matthias, wow, we touched so many things. There are so many risks on the way to automate intralogistics. I think in today's episode now, we summarized a whole bunch of them and also how to mitigate them so your project will be successful, hopefully.
Yeah.
There will be some more risks on the way, but I think now you already have a good overview.
For sure. And again, as we said, if you feel insecure about it, if you're just simply overwhelmed or confused by all of these different tasks and things you have to consider, make sure to involve a consultant, to involve someone who's knowledgeable, might be from your organization, to not commit really expensive mistakes during the project. So that would be my last message. And for now, I'm done. Giving back to you, Ollie, for the spin-off.
Yes, and continue listening to our podcast, of course. Like, for example, already next Monday with the next episode, where you get further insights for your automation project. So thank you for listening to today's episode. Have a great day ahead and see you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This was another episode of the Automation Awakenings podcast. Visit us at automation-awakenings.com.